Okay.
It is now 7 p.m. I ask everyone to put their phones on silent or vibrate at this time so we can start the meeting. Good evening, everyone. That's the first time I got a response right back. But it sounds like everybody is sounding good, looking good. And this is our regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. And we always start our meeting with an invocation led by the Pledge of Allegiance. And a resident and neighbor and friend is going to do the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Dan Zander. I ask everyone to stand and join us at this time.
Lord, I just wanted to ask you to be with us as a family, council family. We pray for all the people here tonight, and let this meeting go through, and to be safe to come here and just join the meeting with us, Lord. And we come to you, and we just wanted to do that also. And in Jesus' name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone who joined us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to do a proclamation for March's Reading Month. It's going to be read by our councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. All members of council have signed, and the proclamation reads as follows. City of Eastpointe Proclamation March's Reading Month. Whereas the proclamation of March's Reading Month provides an opportunity to support efforts to excite children about reading and to educate families about the importance of literacy. And whereas reading plays a crucial role in our lives, stimulating our imagination, expanding our knowledge of the world and each other, and helping us to develop language skills. And whereas reading is also associated with early childhood learning and development, as it helps children to learn sounds, words, and language, expand literacy skills, and develop the ability to focus, concentrate, socialize, and communicate. And whereas reading has long-lasting health benefits for individuals of all ages, including increased cognitive function, memory, empathy, and decreased levels of stress. And whereas noted American author Maya Angelou observed, "When I look back, I am so impressed again with the life-giving power of literature. If I were a young person today trying to gain a sense of myself in the world, I would do that again by reading, just as I did when I was young." And whereas during this month, we encourage each other to read every day, spend ample time reading our favorite books, and recommit ourselves to making sure children and young adults read diverse literary works early and often so that they can see themselves and others in what they read. Now, therefore, we, the City Council for the City of Eastpointe, do hereby proclaim March 2023 as Reading Month. As the late activist and Nobel Prize for Peace laureate Nelson Mandela said, "When we read, we are able to travel to many places, meet many people, and understand the world. Be a lifelong student. Read as many books as possible." Proclaimed this 21st day of March 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for reading that. And I think you did a couple readings, Council, to some of the local schools in the city? You did? Okay.
Yes, tomorrow I'll be reading again at Pleasant View. I had the pleasure last week of reading at Forest Park, and I believe Councilman Baker is scheduled to read. I'm not sure who else.
I read last week, too.
Okay.
Read last week. What grades were those? What levels?
Last week was K through 2, so I had 4 first and second grade classes.
Okay.
So good, smart, attentive groups of children.
That's
yeah,
good.
Excellent time.
That's good. What about you, Councilman?
I had all second graders.
Okay.
Had a great time.
I know that was a bunch of fun, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They understand me.
We're going to open the presentation for the Eagle Scouts. Are you all out there? We see a couple out there. Good evening.
Good evening.
You have the floor.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Sue Todd, the library director, and this is Kevin Martinek.
Can y'all talk in the microphone so the audience can hear
I'm
you?
sorry.
Thank you.
So this is Kevin Martinek. He is the nephew of one of our city employees here who came to the library and wanted to do his Eagle Scout project for us. I immediately thought of a project that we had talked about, but it was just simply too expensive to do, which is a story walk project. And I'll let Kevin talk about how he came about with the idea.
So the story walk is library book pages separated and put onto stands, and they're going to be put in the park, and you walk from one stand to the next and read each page of the book, so you're active and you're learning at the same time.
Sounds like a good idea, right? Council, anybody have any questions?
And
you have a
to add to
presentation
that, the story walk combines two of my favorite things, which is literacy and exercise, and it encourages families in the park to go from frame to frame and read. And we're just hoping that the council will approve, because this is just such a wonderful idea. So many communities have it, and this is a good opportunity for us.
Any
Mayor, I
other-
could ask.
Go ahead.
Sure. Well, thank you. Yeah, this sounds like an awesome project. The boards will be around the walking path at Spindler Park, we're saying, kind of, you drove into the parking lot and just kept going a little farther back?
Yes, in fact, I walked the walking path, and that would be the best place, I think, at Spindler to do it, because there's a definite start and a definite end.
Any other questions, council, on this?
Yeah, they presented at the Parks Commission.
Okay.
meeting, And the Eagle Scouts are paying for it, they're donating it to the parks. So, just so, for those that may not know. But the way he described it, he had a display of what it looked like, and the goal was to put it at a height where pretty much anybody can read, no matter your height, your age, or whatever. So it sounded like a really good idea.
So you'll be able to read it and I'll be able to read it? We'll both be able to read it?
Yeah, well, I got 20/19 vision, so I can see it.
Oh, yes, Councilman.
Tell us how this came into your brain and developed that. I know it was your idea, the way it's going to be presented, so tell us a little bit about that.
So I was thinking about what we can do to help people read more library books. And this is a way where we can take people who are maybe just exploring the park and they weren't really thinking about reading, then they see this and they might want to get more into it. And then parents with kids, they can see this too, and maybe they would want to take their kids to the library.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. I guess that's all thank you for the presentation. And again, for the audience out there, this is no cost to the city that they're going to pay for. The Eagle Scouts are donating the money to make this happen, to ensure that our kids in our community are reading more and interested in using their mind and being inspired. So thank you so much. Thank you, young man. How old are you?
17.
17. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you all can have a seat if you're done. We can. Okay. Thank you again.
Don't leave.
Okay, we're going to go right into a roll call. Good evening, Ms. Coleman.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Baker.
Here.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Present?
Councilmember Curley.
Here?
Councilmember DeMonico.
Here.
Mayor Owens.
Here.
Oh.
Can I get approval of the agenda, please?
Madam Mayor, if you would approve, I'm going to suggest that we move item A, under new business discussion and approval of the story walk on Spindler Park, so they don't have to wait for another 45 minutes till we get to that. If we can move that, the very first, before the hearing of the public.
I don't see why not. How we also need a
Oh.
motion to- oh, yeah, okay. And I'll-
Second. Oh.
Go ahead. No. Motion and second, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we add as well to the agenda, the approval of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation grant contract that was received.
I'll second that. Also, should we just put that right after or / with C then? New business C, part 2? Might as well talk about them at the same time.
You want to combine it with item B? You said C?
With item C under
Okay.
new business.
Did I get support on that?
Yes.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Since the item was approved and we moved item A before the hearing of the public, item A, discussion and approval of the story walk at Spindler Park, council.
Madam Mayor, I would move that we approve the story walk at Spindler Park.
Second.
Motion and support, any discussion?
Yeah. Just, I'm sure I speak for all up here, but you all can say it again, that I think I'm just as proud as Peach. You young people probably never heard of that. So as proud as Peach that he would come up with that, and for his last effort to get his Eagle Scout. That's the kind of people we have here in Eastpointe. That's the kind of people we want. And that's the kind of people that we grow in Eastpointe. So congratulations to whoever was his mentor. I'm sure his parents and the teachers at school. And just praise God that he's one of us. He's one of our residents here in Eastpointe.
I believe we have motion and support, correct? Call
Yes,
the roll.
Mayor.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
The next item is the hearing of the public. We have a hearing of the public in the beginning and the end. Everyone gets 3 minutes. The hearing of the public is now open.
Karen Moragan, Eastpointe resident. So I want to talk about, we're closing in on Easter, and unfortunately, adults do not do their research nor their homework, and out of impulse, they purchase bunnies, chicks, and ducks. They don't know what they're getting themselves into, and more often than not, in less than 6 months, they're dumping bunnies everywhere. The shelters and rescues are already overwhelmed. And to take domestic bunnies and dump them outside in neighborhoods, parks, woods, you have surely signed their death warrant. Rabbits require a very specialized diet. They require specialized vet care. You cannot just count on any vet that, they treat cats and dogs. You need an exotic vet who is a rabbit savvy vet with proper care, proper veterinarian care, and proper diet, and also educating yourself in everything and anything in regards to the care of rabbits. They can easily live to be 10 or older. You absolutely, positively must spay and neuter them once they reach the age of 6 months. This is not just to prevent unwanted litters, but every passing year that these rabbits are not spayed or neutered, it drastically increases their chances of developing reproductive cancer. And that is just excruciating for the rabbits and for the humans who have been entrusted in their care. Rabbits are a lifetime commitment. You don't get to make excuses. Well, the kids are bored, they stink, they're chewing up everything, I'm moving, I can't take them with me, I don't have the time. My husband, boyfriend, wife, girlfriend doesn't like the rabbit doesn't like them, you know, the
30
kids
seconds.
aren't doing anything. These are all horrible excuses. If you're going to take on a rabbit, you take them on for life or you do not take them at all. Better yet, make mine chocolate. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Mary Hall Rayford from Eastpointe. Two things I wanted to talk about. One was the proposal for the Teen Advisory Commission. I love the concept, not too sure the criteria has been sufficiently clarified, because I would hate to see that commission, if it's going to work, become legacy politics. So I really hope that people would think about that and consider all the teens at the high school who might be interested in it, and not just limited, well, not just limited, but include certain people. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, we have the community health fair this Saturday at Emmanuel, and I hope that people come out. We have quite a few vendors there, as well as the raffle for the televisions and the gift cards, and we are feeding people, so I hope you encourage people to come out and take part in that, because we want to make sure that people stay healthy. Thank you.
Madam Mayor and Council, Harvey Creech, resident of East Detroit. I'd like to talk about a little bit of everything, but I don't have the time. So I'll be satisfied right now, and hopefully that the council and the mayor, everybody up there can hear what I've got to say. For the last month, I've met with everybody, and I've come to one conclusion. We're messed up. No one wants to take the responsibility for Parks and Recreation. Don't talk to me, talk to him. Don't talk to her, talk to them. Don't talk to this board, talk to that board. I've talked to everybody. We've got 5 weeks, less than 5 weeks right now before our parks open up. I've asked, do we have people to maintain them? Well, you know, we're having a tough time, Harv. You know, the money is in a problem, and we had a tough time last year. What's our problem? We've got 3 basic parks right now. And I mean, excuse me for saying this, everybody's sort of laughing up there, but I'm trying to laugh too, but it's not a laughing matter anymore. Our parks every year gets worse and worse and worse. I go to the parks and the rest of the stuff, and it says right there on these big signs, you can't have this, and this. Go in there, and there they are. And then I hear, well, call the police. Well, I hear talk to somebody who cares. We can't do this anymore. We're going to have to tell the people the same thing about it. When you get your permits, this is all you're allowed to have. I like them myself personally. I like the dunk tanks. I like them all. But it says right there we're not allowed to have them. There they are. I mean, any weekend you can go down to our parks, and it's amazing. I think it's sort of great. But it says you can't have them. If you can't have them, let's put it real simple. You can't have them. Now, yeah, I see everybody shaking and say you're shaking your head. It's got to be put out there in no detail. And then again, too, please, I've been everywhere, and I said I've been talking about this. I'm asking how I can talk to anybody about, to say Harvey and the same thing about it. You know, we've got one basketball court over there, and the kids are loving it. Now we got a problem. The parking lot is a disaster. It's a mud pit. The kids come in there with their bicycles, they drive through there, it's just mud. I went to, well, we'll do this, we'll clean it. Well, you can't. You can't keep it clean because there's too many kids playing on it. I've asked the same thing about it. I've asked for a bike rack down there. Put a bike rack down there so the kids have a place to put their bike. I need maybe it's time for the council again, too, to start taking walks through these parks. We have, like I said, excuse me for saying this again, too, we have a recreation committee. I wanted to join it. I found out last week, no, I don't want to join anymore.
Time is up, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have an additional 3 minutes closer to the end of the council meeting, if you would like to continue. Anyone else would like to speak at this time?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, and City Administration. Erin Hardcastle here again. Here before you again regarding the issue of vacating the alley for the public hearing at the property located on 8 Mile. I shared with you last time I was here before council when it was not on the agenda. I apologize for my timing on that. A bit of the history as far as the council possibly perhaps not being aware of the efforts that the clinic has made to go through meeting with city administration and following through on suggestions that were made. I shared some of those things with you last time I was here, hiring armed security, installing an entryway, installing fencing. The clinic's contractor applied in May for the fence. Last June, this was before the council, and the council was gracious enough to vote unanimously to approve the vacation of the alley. Since then, the clinic moved forward, as I shared again, and installed the fencing and the gate. This is as a result of suggestions again made to them and in efforts to keep the patients and the volunteers as well as staff members at the clinic safe as they're coming and going from the property. I thank you, council, very much for your time and direction in approving this matter. It is imperative for the safety of the people who are using the clinic, and I understand this is the only property impacted by the vacation of the alley, so the clinic has addressed any concerns that were brought forward by the fire department as far as accessing lines in the case of an emergency. The clinic is well aware and accepts the responsibility that in such a case they'd be required to maintain and reinstall the fence. And so I just wanted to, for those who weren't possibly aware of some of the history related to the actions that the clinic has taken to try and work with the city, just make those known, and again, thank the council for allowing the clinic to move forward with these improvements at the property for the safety of all. Thank you, everybody.
Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Colette, and I'm a volunteer at the Eastland Women's Clinic, and everything she said is true. The fence is up, the clinic did everything. We try not to involve the police, but they do show up because of the protesters. And again, I have video on my phone, I have photos. Protesters have driven their vehicle through, threatened our armed security guard, cursed him out, just for the safety of the volunteers, the people that work at the clinic, and the patients of the clinic. No other business is affected by closing the alley, vacating it, or whatever. Last meeting, whenever it was, you, Mayor, you spoke about Eastpointe and Women's Month, and it's March. I'm a woman, I volunteer there. I mean, it's imperative for our safety that the gate be able to be shut to keep these lunatics from driving their vehicles through. Like, it doesn't click with them. It's private property. It would save the police from coming. I mean, it's just something that needs to happen. We raised money, the clinic raised money for the fence, the gate, whatever you want to call it. The protesters don't pay attention. They don't care. It's not their First Amendment right to threaten my safety with a motor vehicle or try to run over our armed security guard and curse him out. So, again, for the safety of the people that work there, the volunteers, and the patients, please approve the vacating the alley for our safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Just wanted to come before the council today and talk about, in the past, back in 2017, actually, I had come before the council and had recommended doing cleanup for the city. I feel like Earth Day coming up in about a month here is a great day to start that. And back in 2017, 2018, and 2019, we did it. I think there was a smaller one last year as well. In the first 3 years, I actually had donated food for the volunteers through my catering company. So I just wanted to see if we could maybe start doing that again with Earth Day coming up. I feel like a great day to start off the season. I know there's other cleanups and stuff, but I feel like that's maybe a good kickoff event to get a lot of people involved. So would like to see that again. So thank you.
Thank you. I think we're supposed to start our cleanup next month anyway. Yeah. Okay.
How you doing, everybody? Y'all all right? All right, my name is Concerned Citizen. First of all, I wanted to comment on what you said, Mr. Curley. You said something about these are the type of people that we like in Eastpointe, because the young man had a good idea, and that's the truth. In the city I live in, if our children will grow up here, you want it to be a good city to live in. You want kids to have good ideas. But the sad thing about this city is I live in a neighborhood where it's racism. And this is the thing that we're never going to get over, it seems like. It's never going to be abolished. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to cry about it. But I have neighbors who continuously call down to the city asking me to fix things around my house. My house actually looks good. The garage is messed up a little bit, but they continuously call down here, and now they're telling me that I have to spend $3,000 in a couple weeks to get it fixed. Now the thing is, these people that's calling complaining, who are they? Because my thing is, the house looked like crap when we bought it. The house looks beautiful now, but nobody came and said, hey, good job. But you're giving me a paper saying, hey, get it done, get it fixed. Where's the hand claps when the house was looking like crap when we pulled up, and now it looks good? You know what I mean? And it's a continuous and continuous and continuous, and I know it's like, okay, what is he talking about? The whole thing is we have people that complain about keeping our neighborhood looking good, looking safe, and I do that. To the chef, if you ever need help, I'm a chef. I will help you with anything you need on Earth Day. I got you. I just want to say that. But we need to come together, y'all. Come together, man. This is really sad. A lot of us is here being quiet about a lot of stuff that's going on in our city. And a lot of y'all, like, you might dislike your neighbor for whatever reason. But for color, it's pitiful. I'm going to tell you right now, you're pitiful. If you hate me because I'm this color, you're pitiful. You're really pitiful, and you don't deserve to be in this city, nor God's world, for real, to tell you the truth. Because we all God's children, all of us, all of you. And you should be ashamed of yourself if you're the one that's calling on us. Nobody helped me and my wife when we was sick with COVID. Nobody helped me when my son got shot. So nobody called to say, hey, what's going on? Why is certain things around the house might be falling apart? Let me call the neighbor and see if they need a hand up. Don't call down to the city and try to get us in trouble secretly. It's sad. It's sad and pathetic. So all I'm saying is y'all need to start screening who's doing the calling and, constantly calling on one person, and then go check out the house, see what's going on, and see, hey, what are they talking about? And then go to that person and say, hey, what is the real issue? I know my time is up, but hey, y'all, we needed to get it together. I don't care what color you are, you're broke, rich, skinny, fat, I don't care. Get it together. We in one city. If I see your white child need help, I'm going to help him. And I hope you help my black child. Okay? Vice versa. This is sad and pathetic.
Your time is up, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
Anyone else? Anyone else at this time? Seeing none, City Manager has a public comment.
Thank you. So I received an email, and I'll read it into the record for a hearing of the public. My name is Cheryl I'm not gonna say this correct, Kiriak, I'll spell it for the record, Kirouac, Eastpointe resident for 30 years, and I am unable to be there for the city council meeting on March 21st, 2023. I would like to address something which I feel needs to be said. The amount of negative publicity our community has received over the past couple of years, especially the past couple of months, has mainly been caused by the words, decisions, and actions of Mayor Owens. I've never seen the city more divided, in a constant state of turmoil, and just waiting for the next shoe to drop. We have become a laughingstock not only here in our own county and state, but also throughout the nation. In my opinion, the only solution that would ensure our city being able to move forward in a positive direction and to rebuild the trust of the citizens is for Mayor Owens to resign. If she truly has the best interest of Eastpointe as her priority, as she claims, she will do the right thing and tender her resignation. Respectfully, Cheryl Kiriak.
That was beautiful. Anyone else? Seeing none, the hearing of the public is now closed. Going to, we did the approval of the minutes, didn't we? Or no? Approval of the minutes, please.
Madam Mayor, I would move that we receive and file the minutes of the regular meeting of March 7th, 2023.
Second that?
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes?
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Next item is the scheduled hearings, the scheduled public hearing for the vacating of the alley at 15921 East 8 Mile Road. That is now open to the public if you would like to speak on the vacating of the alley on 8 Mile Road. Yes. That's pertaining to the women's clinic.
No, actually, I just wanted to say this real quick. When it comes to protecting women and children, if we move slow on protecting women and children, then you cannot speak on this, the type of people we need in Eastpointe. I don't care what the situation is at that clinic. I can't be biased in that situation or unbiased. Listen, that's a whole different situation, the conversation about that clinic, okay? But when it comes to protecting y'all, that should be hands down, no question. So just give these ladies a fence. If they need a fence just to keep a couple people out, give them a fence. That'll stop our officers, our brothers and sisters, for wasting the taxpayer dollars and wasting their time where they could be stopping a real crime from having to come protect them from just doing a not regular 9 to 5. You know what I mean? So let's give them a fence or whatever y'all need. Let's give it to them. Let's protect them because they in our city. You know what I mean? All right, y'all.
Thank you, sir. The young man that just left the podium, you know we have some openings for council members this year, so you might want to think about that. You got a strong voice for the people. I just want to put that out there. Yes, ma'am.
So, yes, this needs to happen. The women and men that are working at the clinic, whether it's paid or whether it's volunteer, they need to be protected, along with all women that enter this clinic. For the protesters, let me make it perfectly clear. If you don't believe in abortion, do not have one. Do not shove your religious beliefs down everyone else's throat. There's a reason why the freedom of religion is covered under the First Amendment, and it's very specific about protecting all religions and even those who may choose not to believe in any religion at all. There have been too many times recently in coming to these council meetings where the line is constantly crossed. There's also the separation of church and state. And Mr. Albright, as our city attorney, I really would appreciate it if you would inform, the body that, again, we have the separation of church and state. We're not here to hear about preaching, about God, about Bible verses, but yet it keeps coming up every meeting. If we want to hear about God, if we want to hear about Bible verses, we'll go to church, not a council meeting. This is not the time nor place to be preaching about God. Quoting scripture, it doesn't belong here. This is a city council meeting. It does not belong. It's very disrespectful for those who have different beliefs. What you're doing is you're inflicting your religious beliefs on the public. It's unacceptable. And again, we need to protect the women in this clinic, whether they're employees, volunteers, or they're there to get services. For the men, you don't believe in abortion, do us all a favor, have a vasectomy. Women, you don't want an abortion, you don't believe it, don't interrupt me. For the women, if you don't believe in abortion, no one is telling you to have one. These protesters, this is ridiculous. They should not be acting like a bunch of goons because they don't like what the clinic is providing for women. Nobody's health or safety should be endangered like that. It's ridiculous. It's uncalled for, and it's criminal, and it needs to stop.
Thank you, ma'am. Your
Thank
time is
you.
up. I think you did over 3 minutes. Again, everyone has freedom of speech, but this current item is about the women's clinic. So,
Madam Mayor, Council, Executive Committee, just like the person that just spoke and what have you, I don't think nobody, if that's not the case, I know I don't come to hear about same-sex marriage, you see, so to speak on it when it benefits you and what have you. But moving on to, in regard to the clinic, it says a public hearing to the vacation is the way it reads and what have you, of the alley. Now, my question is the alley public or is it private? So if someone could answer that for me, give me a little bit more clarity on it. Thank you.
thank you, sir. You want to elaborate on that, the public and private? Because I think a lot of people probably don't know. Yeah. I guess they can, if they want to comment, if it's public or private.
Ryan, do you want to touch on the vacation of the alley? Details in terms of it being public property?
The reason why I said that is the question that, that he had. I think they would need to know that so they can elaborate more if it's public or private. So if they comment, they know what they're commenting on. But I'm gonna let her speak because she's up there, and then
You can let him speak because I would like to hear that because the comment is pertaining to that.
it's pertaining to, okay, sounds good.
It is, currently it is a public alley. It's a 20-foot wide public alley that we're looking to vacate, basically, and would no longer be public if it's vacated.
Okay.
Okay. Madam Mayor and City Council, to the clinic. Now, that clinic been there for about over 30 years. So my question is, the incident that happened, because you have protesters up there every time there is an abortion taking place. So if they're doing services Monday through Sunday, Monday through Saturday, then you have protesters up there. And yes, it is the safety of the people that's coming in, but the protesters stand outside. Yes, they do walk up to, I have witnessed this and seen them just being on the opposite side of the street. And so is this a one-time incident that the workers are feeling threatened or the clients coming in are feeling threatened? And is this going to come out of the taxpayers' money? Or is it strictly on the clinic to put up that gate? And if so, then that needs to be looked into a little bit further.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm back.
That's fine.
The gate is up. The clinic has paid for the fencing. It is black wrought iron fencing around the parking lot and over the alley. No taxpayers' money has gone into this. There was a grant. The clinic paid for it. We raise money. We have fundraisers throughout Metro Detroit to get signs, like, to block the people from harassing the patients. So no public money, not a penny, is going into vacating the alley. The fence is up. The fence has been up since, Aaron has the dates of when it was originally approved, and then whatever you guys did to, I don't know how city council works, but no public money is, the gate's already up, the fence is already up. We just need the alley vacated so the gate can close, so protesters cannot drive their cars through and try to run over people and yell at our armed security guard. Again, the fence is there, it's paid for, nothing came out of your tax dollars. The clinic raised the money, I promise. Thank you. I
Thank
just
you
wanted to
again.
clarify that, because there's some confusion. Thank you.
Any more comments or concerns? If not, we're going to move right along. The scheduled hearing of the public for the vacating of the alley at 15921 East 8 Mile Road is now closed. Going to unfinished business for the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 23-1230, and ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Article 3, Officers and Employees, Division 3, Code of Ethics of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Eastpointe. Council?
I'll move that, Mayor, that we give second reading and adopt ordinance number 23-1230 to amend Chapter 2, Article 3, Officers and Employees, Division 3, Code of Ethics of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Eastpointe.
Second.
Motion and support? Yes, sir.
I just want to address one thing. There is a change from this version that was read at the first reading. I did delete the reference to a new section 2-105 fee schedule. After further research, I didn't think it was appropriate for this particular ordinance, so it's just being eliminated. I just wanted the council to be aware of that, and the public as well, if there's any questions as to why the difference between the first reading and tonight's second reading.
Okay, thank you, sir. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes?
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Reports from administration, starting with our city manager, Ms. Walton. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So first I want to highlight some dates that are coming up. We have a neighborhood watch meeting with our police department. So Director Ruhi will be here on March 23rd at 6:30. The meeting is here in council chambers. If you'd like some additional information or statistics or tips and tricks, come out March 23rd at 6:30 to meet with him and the remaining department to hear kind of how things are going and preparing for the spring and summer in Eastpointe. The Local Officers Compensation Commission is meeting on March 29th at 6 p.m., also here in City Hall. Filters and cartridges are still available if you've not received one. We have them at the library, DPW, and here at City Hall. We do have a lot of construction going on. I'm sure, as many know with spring, construction is here when you start seeing the orange barrels go out. Please drive safe. We have a lot of construction workers that come in from out of the community and within the community that are laborers, so please be respectful. We want to make sure all of them get home safe to their families. A lot of them are also on smaller roads, so speeding through, if there's one step that comes out, we could potentially hurt or harm someone that is here serving our community and helping with our infrastructure. Also in the subdivisions, please be safe. It's becoming springtime. We have kids, we have families, so we want to be attentive to that. We do have additional enforcement from the police department within the subdivision, so we're appreciative of the department in this effort, and then the officers that are spending additional time going out into the community to make sure that we're safe. We've also hired our new HR manager. I know she's watching from home today, but Ms. Vicki Brooks has joined our team here in administration and has been incredible the past week and almost half that she's been here. And I know most of council has stopped by to meet her. Any of the community, if you'd like to stop by and meet her, she's here in our office as well, and would love to touch base with you as well to talk about the different initiatives and things going on for the employees here. I did want to touch on the cleanup event. I know beautification, and Councilmember DeMonico can probably highlight it, does do the cleanup every year, and we have been pushing forward with a Clean City initiative. Last year, we did clean the community 2 times a month, one on a Thursday and one on a Saturday, and we're looking at restarting that this year as well. So if you're interested in joining us, please come out on those dates. We'll publish those so that we can get everyone out joining hands and picking up the trash in the community together. Let's see. And spring is here again, so yard waste is going to start being picked up on March 27th. So as we start cleaning our yards, cutting our grass, March 27th, we will start picking up yard waste. And with that, Mayor, I can answer any questions that you or council may have.
Any questions for our city manager?
Sure. Mayor, I had one brief one. Thanks, Ms. Walton, for the update. It sounds like our meeting's not being live streamed right now. Can we take a look at that?
Yes, I've actually been in contact with Otis. He's in touch with Advanced and trying to troubleshoot that now.
Okay.
I'm glad you said that. What's going on with our IT person?
We have to publish the RFP for that. So I was gone for the conference, so I didn't get a chance to publish that last week. We do have an IT company that is here. They're familiar, the vice president is actually a part of this new organization that is assisting us. So we have IT services, and we're moving forward, and we're safe, secure, and we'll be publishing so that we can get an RFP out and then bring it to council to award a contract.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions for our city manager? If not, moving right along to our finance director, Mr. Blum. Good evening, sir.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council. I wanted to mention, haven't even had a chance to let our attorney know, but the second check for the opioid settlement did come in last week. We've now received approximately $97,000, and we'll receive approximately $36,000 a year going forward. At some point, council's going to have to decide how to spend that money, but it is here and it's in the bank. The other thing I wanted to mention is the contract that was added to the agenda. That came in yesterday after hours, didn't see it until this morning. Had some clarification on the language from MEDC, got that, and then realized that they actually have a due date of April 3rd. It was originally going to be on the next agenda, but they expect this to be signed and returned by April 3rd, which is why we had to kind of rush it through for this evening. But this contract was written by the state of Michigan through the MEDC, and it is related to the $600,000 grant for the fire engine. And that's all I had for this evening.
Any questions for our finance director? Seeing none, thank you. City attorney, Mr. Albright, good evening, sir.
Good evening,
Again.
Madam Mayor, members of council. I had a rather long report section at the last meeting. I don't have anything specific this evening, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for our attorney? Seeing none, I always give the opportunity for our public safety director to speak, even though he's not on the agenda, but he takes him and the police and fire, they take good care of us, so we want to hear what's going on in our community. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Yeah, the only thing I just want to reiterate from what Ms. Walton said, we have a neighborhood watch meeting here Thursday night at 6:30. Crime Stoppers will be doing a presentation. It's Crime Stoppers of Michigan. We also, it's kind of a dual meeting. It's not only neighborhood watch, but it's, we like to update you on what's going on in our police department and our fire departments. There's a lot of good information, a lot of data, a lot of stats you may be interested, so I hope to see everyone there. Thank you.
I also see that Eastpointe Cops Care is having a Happy Easter Hams. We want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, we just discussed this at the PACE meeting. We, this year we've been giving out, last year we gave out turkeys to a number of families, and we also presented Christmas gifts to a number of the children in the community. This year, Easter's coming around the corner, so we're going to start purchasing hams with our donations and delivering to the families that are in need in the community. So if you know anybody that is in need or doesn't have the funding, we would like to give them a nice Easter, so just let us know at the police department.
Thank you again for your work. We're gonna go right into new business. We have deleted item A, so we're gonna go to item B, approval to vacate the commercial alley at 15921 East 8 Mile Road. Council.
Madam Mayor, I would move to vacate the commercial alley north of the property located at 15921 East 8 Mile Road, parcel number 02-14-31-380-034. Do we need to read, Mr. Attorney, do we need to read the description, the legal description as well?
If you'd like, I can read it.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
With a legal description of all that part of the east and west 20-foot wide public alley lying northerly of the adjacent to the north part of lots 7 through 12, both inclusive, being 55.23 feet on the west line of lot 7, 55.08 feet on the east line of lot 12, Universal Heights subdivision, as recorded in Liber 12, page 23 of plats, Macomb County Records, and further authorize city administration to prepare and record all documents required by Macomb County.
I will second that.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Next item is the approval of the purchase of the replacement fire rescue engine, in addition to the MEDC grant as well. Council.
Madam Mayor, I would like to move to approve the purchase of the fire rescue engine from Payette Sales and Service of Grosse Ile, Michigan, for a cash option totaling $895,555, and authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents.
Second.
Motion and support, Councilman.
Yeah, can we get a brief summary for the community on our new fire truck we're looking at purchasing, and maybe throw in the other agenda item we had that we've got $600,000 coming in from the state for it?
Yes. So we received 4 bid proposals for a new fire engine. So the fire department actually, and we have our, Joe Zangiera is actually here in the back. So I do want to highlight, I love when we have employees that come out and join. But he actually, Lieutenant Joe Zangiera, I apologize. He headed the committee, the fire engine committee, so they spent significant time researching fire engines around the area. A lot of bids that went out, going out, researching and actually visiting the communities that have purchased fire engines to do research and put bid specs together for a fire engine that would work for the community. Bid specs went out, and we received 4 bids that came back. We received a bid actually from Payette that we recommended awarding to. It's actually from the same company that is also building our fire truck. So hopefully we get that soon as well. But we think they'll do an incredible job, and it comes with no proprietary equipment, which was very important for us. There were some bids that came back that had some specialized equipment in their engines, and so we're very excited to award this and hopefully bring a new engine on, reduce any maintenance costs that we have, and also keep our incredible firefighters safe and moving forward from call to call.
And Madam Mayor, if I might add, I want to highlight the fact that the city, per the contract that we reviewed tonight, the city is receiving $600,000 grant from the state of Michigan for this purchase, and there was also already budgeted an additional $695,000 in our 2023 budget. But with all of that being said, I'm very proud of administration in that we will be coming about $400,000 under budget, so thank you.
I believe we have motion and support. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. And then we have to also do the MEDC contract, approve that as well.
Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion for approval to enter into the contract with MEDC pursuant to the executed copy, the copy that we received tonight.
I will second that.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Item D, we have the scheduling of the public meeting regarding the Clean Water State Revolving Fund project plan submittal to EGLE, Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. Council?
So moved.
Support. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Item E, approval of the bid award for the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Funding for Rain Park Improvements Project. Council?
Madam Mayor, I would move to award the Rain Park Improvement Project to Luigi Ferdinandi and Son Cement Company in the amount of $190,222.75.
Second that?
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Next item is the approval of Resolution 23-1955 for the second round application for the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Sparks Grant Opportunity. Council?
Sure, Mayor, I'll motion that we authorize city administration to adopt Resolution 23-1955 to apply for the second round of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Spark Grants for improvements to Spindler Park with the following items. Number one, tennis court improvements in the amount of $436,770. Number two, installation of a basketball court for $105,540. Three, replacement of the North Pavilion, $57,300. Four, sidewalk pathway improvements for $200,833. Five, lighting improvements, $168,000. And finally, six, landscaping grading improvements for $74,400.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Thank you.
Adoption, good job. Adoption of resolution number 23-1956, Michigan Department of Natural Resources, 2023 Recreation Passport Grant Application for improvements to Shamrock Park.
Mayor, I move that we adopt resolution number 23-1956 for the MDNR 2023 Recreation Passport Grant Application for improvements to Shamrock Park.
Second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Actually, wait, sorry, one quick thing. I wanted to mention that I emailed a question about, I was just saying there was one minor item, wouldn't need to be part of this motion right now, but I was just hoping to see, there's trees around the outside at one part and just moving and we can discuss this at a future meeting, but I was just thinking we might as well move the north soccer field a little over so we can have trees finish kind of the outside of the park there and, you know, it's kind of a border. So that was all.
I think we have motion and support. Oh, no, you was gonna speak on that?
Say, yeah, we can do that. We can do that at a later time if we get awarded and get into the design, we can take a look at that.
Yeah, I guess getting awarded first, eh?
Right, yes.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Last item is discussion and motion on a proposed teen advisory commission. This was brought up by our councilwoman, Ms. Cobb Muniz. You have the mic. Please speak on that, please.
Well, I would like to make a motion to approve the creation of a teen advisory commission and further direct the city attorney to draft an ordinance for review and approval at our next city council meeting. To that, well, I'll leave that motion there and see if there's support first before I go into my discussion.
I'll second.
All right. To that end, thank you. Just a couple of quick points regarding this. Number one, this is a council that would be open to all teen Eastpointe residents. And teen-led organizations, just in terms of background, give teens a sense of responsibility. It also gives teens a safe space to serve their community and opportunity where their age bracket is represented. It's an opportunity to bridge the age gap and give teens the opportunity to learn and become informed citizens that help to build the community. And pursuant to the proposed ordinance language, just a couple of quick things I wanted to highlight is that this council would be appointed by a majority vote of the city council. The students who would participate in this would need to not only be Eastpointe residents, but be currently active in their high school, and they would have to submit a resume as well as a statement of intent. So this isn't just, hey, I think I want to do that, but we want to see some intentionality on their part to be a part of this council. And in terms of purpose, the objective and purpose of the Teen Advisory Commission would be to establish a teen-led commission comprised of students who will develop programming geared toward youth involvement and successful engagement in the city of Eastpointe. The commission would introduce teens to local government, community organizing, and professional development.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Can we discuss it a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. First of all, this is a great idea. It's always great motivating kids to get involved, especially in government. I think we especially just need everybody involved in government. Got a lot of involvement today, I see. Full room here for city council. I think one thing I was wondering if we could do, and I was trying to come up with some good ones, is write some more objectives. Like I like what we've have so far, and write more that they could organize around as they do their meetings and stuff, kind of give a little bit more guidance. I think that's been helpful with some of the other commissions. They'll revisit it once in a while, and you could go, bullet at a time. I don't think I have anything super well thought out at this point, since I've only had a couple days to think about it. But of course, we have to do a first and second reading, so I think that would be a good addition. And then I was looking around at some other ones, and I think maybe like if we put specific age bracket in there, so that's not vague, maybe that'd be a good idea too.
Age bracket from what standpoint?
Like 14 to 18, something like that. A lot of the commissions I think I saw, like in other communities, it seemed like it was 14 to 18 in all of them, just so it's not, teen is usually in teenagers, 13, but if we put the specific numbers in, just be.
You don't think that by specifying enrollment in high school, that would meet that qualification?
It could be that too, so, yeah, either way. That sounds good. And I think also like having them advise us on like current programming too, like anything through like the Recreation Authority or library, and maybe this could be like one of the objectives for the commission. I think that would be good to always improve or change, because obviously some things are very popular at one point. I think we've got like 17 baseball diamonds in the city, and there's not 17 ever used all at once, as I'm sure you're all aware. So, just trying to get feedback from the younger generation for sure, that would be helpful. So I think that'd be a good objective for it. And I guess that's my feedback so far.
If you don't mind, Madam Mayor, I'll let Mr. Curley
Just a couple questions. The author of this, I would have two questions. It says residents only. I wish I knew the percentage of what the population in our school is from non-residents to residents. So my question is, why are you restricted to residents only? And second, it said that people from employees such as us are eligible to be appointed. And I was wondering your rationale why council members would be able to appoint their own son or daughter.
Well, let me give clarification in two veins. One, with respect to their residency status. This is an Eastpointe Teen Advisory Council. So much like our other boards and commissions, their residency in Eastpointe would be necessary. Because the goal is for people who live here to serve in a capacity here. So we wouldn't, this isn't about what school you attend, it's about what community you live in and being in the teen age bracket. So we could have students who attend Eastpointe High. We could have students who attend other schools outside the area, but are residents in our city. Much like we have people, who sit on this dais. Some may work in the city, some may work outside the city. One thing we all have in common is that we all live here in terms of the city council members. So, and then with respect to the terms of appointment, that kind of goes to my point. So I'd actually like to read through this for the general public's purpose so that you all understand the fullness of what is actually in this proposal. It says, there is hereby established in and for the city a teen advisory commission, which shall serve in an advisory capacity to the council. The teen advisory commission shall consist of 9 members to be appointed by a majority vote of the members of the council. All members shall be residents currently enrolled in high school and must submit a resume and a paragraph explaining their interest in the commission and how they will be an asset to the community. Members of the Teen Advisory Commission shall serve for a term of 2 years. An appointment shall be as follows. 5 members shall be appointed for a period of 2 years, and 4 shall be appointed for a period of 1 year, respectively. Thereafter, each member shall hold office for a full 2-year term. Teens that are related to an elected and/or appointed official or an employee are also eligible for an appointment to the Teen Advisory Commission. Members of the Teen Advisory Commission shall be subject to Division 1 of this article as to removal, vacancies, and compensation. The Teen Advisory Commission shall select its own chairperson who shall serve for a term of 1 year and who may be re-elected as chairperson if the other commission members so desire. The Teen Advisory Commission shall consist of the following ex officio members who shall have no voting power on such commission: 1 representative from the city manager's office and 1 representative from the city council. The objectives and purposes of the Teen Advisory Commission shall be to establish a teen-led commission comprised of residents who will develop programming geared toward youth involvement and successful engagement in the city of Eastpointe. This commission will introduce teens to local government, community organizing, and professional development. The Teen Advisory Commission shall annually prepare and present to council an estimate of any necessary costs and expenses required to carry on the work of such commission.
I think he had another question that he
Well,
asked.
the second question, I don't think I heard an answer. Why would you put in there allowing council members to appoint their own child?
Well, first of all, no one individual council person would have the power to appoint their own child. And if I speak specifically as to my own, since I have teens who would qualify, at least in age, to submit an application, it would still require a majority vote of this council. It would not be on my vote alone. And as we've seen time and time again, everyone else could vote no, and one person could vote yes, or vice versa. So the goal is to not restrict student involvement, but to encourage student involvement. And I think, to be quite honest, at least in my short time of experience on this council, I have found that my children are actually much more engaged because of my involvement. And so I would love to see that same level of excitement and engagement about government, about leadership, about civics, take off like wildfire amongst all of our teens, not just specialized to those who have the privilege of having their parents on council. I think that we also have employees in this city who have children in the same age category. They should not be restricted from participating simply because of their parents' employ. And especially when the system is set up to where the approval of their application has to come from a majority of the body, not just from one person's appointment.
Madam Mayor, Councilman had mentioned is there 2 readings on this? This is just the first reading?
Yes.
It doesn't indicate that on our agenda, but is it 2 readings?
That's true. I didn't see that either.
There would be 2 readings, but the actual ordinance is not before the council. This is just a proposed ordinance. The motion is to direct the city attorney to actually put it in ordinance form for a first reading at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilman?
Yes, I just have one question. if students or teens are homeschooled, are they eligible to participate?
Yes, because as long as they are in school,
Okay.
whether it's homeschool, private school, traditional public school, it does not matter. The important part is that they are enrolled or in a school program that is recognized by the state, and homeschooling is recognized.
Thank you.
Again, this is the first reading, and I probably would tweak it a little bit because 2 years for a teen is a long time. I can't even get my kids to clean up for 2 hours, so it's like, so we might want to tweak that a little bit. But we got motion and support on there, so please call the roll.
One more item?
Yes, sir.
I think, budget, I think I'd be interested in not having the budget clause for, the commission, at least at this point, you know, get it rolling maybe, but, that'd at least be my, personal preference on that.
You want them to operate without a budget?
Sure.
What's the budget on there now?
There isn't. It says that they would annually prepare and present to council an estimate of necessary costs and expenses. The great thing about that, again, is it gives the teens an opportunity to look into budgeting, see what it takes to present a budget, see what it takes to take that before council and present it. And maybe they get to work with Mr. Blum and his staff to learn yet another area in the layers of government. The whole point of this is to expose our young people to the processes that are required to effectively and efficiently run a city, including the finance end.
I agree. Okay.
Sure, so my reason for saying that, I guess at least what the other commissions, like in the city, do, really, there's 3 commissions that kind of have a budget, like the DDA's got its own, that one doesn't count, like the library's got its own budget, but the Arts Commission, Beautification Commission, the parks have a small budget to do their programming, but then kind of everyone else, it's either they've got no budget, or like the city administration, like indirectly helps the commission. I don't think they need any money in that sense. Like if we approve this, city administration will help them with their meetings and all that sort of thing. But if they have some proposal to us, like you're suggesting right now, they could come to council, present it, and we kind of make that part of our budget or something like that, but it wouldn't be like a budget that they can just vote on and spend. I guess that's where I'm going. And I think when we'll have budget for the city coming up, and I think I think we'll have to make some tough choices in it, and I'd rather not add more budget items before we get there, and then be cutting other things potentially.
I think pursuant to this, the issue of budget would not even come to fruition until the council is in place. This just simply says that they would prepare and present to council an estimate of any necessary costs. It's not even putting anything in the line item of the budget for this coming budgetary conversation. So I think you're kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit. But also, I think if we are truly about investing in the welfare of our children in particular, we can invest in a whole lot of things. But these are the young people who, in less than the next 5 years, will be the voters, will be the leaders, will be the ones being put on ballots. If we don't invest in training them and teaching them and put money behind what we have to say, if we're not willing to do that, then we can't expect better within the next 5 to 10 years. And this is not something that's far off. We're talking about young people who will be graduating, who will be turning 18, who will have the right to vote and determine who's even sitting on this dais. We want those young people to be fully informed on what it takes to run city government as much as possible. That's just my take.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
I love what you just said, but I guess I would turn that to all the students who are enrolled into our schools, that the welfare of those children that come from another city to our schools should be also concerns for their welfare. I don't know how many young people come to our school on their own. I think I'm going to go to East Detroit. So I'm having trouble with that residents only. So this is the first reading, so I'm going to vote no. Then I'm going to do some investigation to see how many children go to our school and how many are residents of our school. And keeping in mind that, from my perspective, I'm concerned about every child that walks into that door in the morning on Monday through Friday. I don't, whether they come from out of Detroit or Roseville or Warren or St. Clair Shores or wherever, my heart is still with them just as much as it is from a resident from our city. And so I'm going to take a look at it. There's 2 readings, but I'm going to vote no tonight for that reason, and I'm still having a problem with, I don't have any children, so I won't, yeah, I wouldn't be in, well, she's 60 years old, so I guess I wouldn't be selecting her. But I just have a problem with saying, well, we're going to, let's see, they got 1, 2, 3. 3 of our people up here have children, right? 1, 2, 3. And the others don't, so.
Well,
That just, I'm not going to, I don't want to debate, debate with you. I'm not debating. I'm just giving you my opinion that I'm not sure I subscribe to that.
I know Councilman, our Mayor Pro Tem wants to say something.
No, well, one, this is not a first reading yet. It's just a discussion with trying to get it to first reading once language is put together. But I agree with what Councilwoman Stacy said, is that just like any other commission, you have to be a resident. That's a requirement. And so because of that, if we're going to stay consistent with how we do our boards and commissions, then that I don't disagree with that. It's not ostracizing any child, but that is the requirement for any board or commission. You can work in the city, but if you don't live here, you can't serve on a board or commission. If you can find one that you can, then I'll stand corrected on that. But that's the requirement. That's not pushing anybody out.
That's apples and oranges, comparing
actually,
to somebody that is going to be appointed to a commission and a student at the high school. I don't know.
This language says a commission. Is that how she explained it? Because that's how she explained it, as a commission, a teen advisory commission. And that is consistent with how we do everything. That's how all of our boards and commissions function. And it doesn't mean you care any less about any child. I think that's apparent in what you said. Can I please finish my point? I didn't cut you off. Can I please finish? Now, if that's how we function in our city, why would we change that? It's not pushing anybody out. It's trying to spark a seed of hope and enlightenment in children. It's an investment. You have to start somewhere. That's what she conveys very clearly. And so it's not a bad thing. If we know that there are kids that come from outside of the city that go to the high school. There's also people that work in the city that don't necessarily live here. But that's being consistent. And I don't see, if we changed it for that, we might as well change it for everything else.
Anyone else who would like to speak on this? Again, this is not the first reading or the second one. We're just putting this together with your ideas. And so I think I have motion and support, correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's call the roll, please.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
No.
Moving right along to payrolls and bills, council.
Madam Mayor, I would move the payment of the bills in $3,643,250.17.
I'll second.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
The second hearing of the public is open. I am going to excuse myself and do my personal business, but I'm going to have our Mayor Pro Tem run this section for me.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. You're all set.
Hello, I just want to make a comment. You have a very great idea for the board, for the students, but it does need to a little bit more attention to it. So I want to bring some things up. You mentioned Eastpointe resident, which is great. And you did mention 9 members. Am I correct? Yes. Okay, so maybe it can be, first let me say this. I like the ideal, but I have a little concern because I don't want it to get to the point where it becomes favoritism with the employees that's already sitting on a board with their children. That I don't want. Not saying that it will start off like that, but we open it up for every student who may have an interest. So keeping that in mind. For the residents of Eastpointe, coming from Eastpointe High, from the Eastpointe Community High School, maybe it could be 5 residents of Eastpointe and 4 other. And when I say other, it's because we have open enrollment up at that school. So you may have students that may have an interest in what you're doing more than the Eastpointe students. So giving the other students an opportunity, maybe you guys can look into that. 5 Eastpointe resident students and 4 other students that actually do not live in the city of Eastpointe. Just a suggestion. The open enrollment, and that's basically it. I just think that maybe you guys give a little bit more attention into it, a little bit more thought into it. I mean, I can go on, but those are the main 2 or 3 things that came to my mind. I think it's a perfect idea. Oh, and another thing, the finances. It does need to be finances in there. Maybe it can be capped at 500. Maybe it can be capped at 1,000. But they need to start off with a budget because that's the whole body of it. The city, being city council, you're dealing with a budget. So if you bring them in, teaching them, that should be a part of it. Am I correct? City council, you're dealing with budgets every day. Every month you're dealing with that finances and that money. So they need to know how to count it, where it's coming from, and how to use it, regardless of what's involved. That's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I find it hard to believe that as old as this city is, of all the problems that we have, especially in our Parks Division, we keep saying we don't have any money. That's all I hear. We joined Roseville because we didn't have any money. We got rid of our recreation center, which we need back badly right now. We have no bill. As I say, right now we have 2 parks left that have buildings in them. We have Spindler and we have Memorial. And yet all this money that what we put in these buildings, these residents that have been here, and the same thing, we put all this money in these parks. And yet we can't even use them. We can't even use the buildings. I know Harvey, you did last time we talked about this too, and the same thing about it. What good, as I've said about these buildings, what good is it if we can't use them? We put, especially Memorial, we put all that money last year, and I don't even know the same thing about it. I know we have the 2 bathrooms that are open, and I think that's all that's open at Memorial. And then the same thing at Spindler. That's all we have there is 2 bathrooms. We have the buildings. We don't use them. All the money, all the residents put in these places. Now we're saying we don't have people open. We don't. Every time I turn around, it's either money or people. And yet you're doing the same thing right here, right now, in the parks. We're willing to spend all this money again, or these grants. We can't even get people to come in and even service our parks. Yet we want to put all this money Great ideas. I want it just as much as you do. But we've got to maintain our parks just what we've got now. The poor gentleman that was last week, you were out there when walking down the sidewalk. What did he do? He fell. Why did he fall? Go look at the sidewalks over there right now. These are the new sidewalks we put in there. They're uneven. It looks like it's terrible. I mean, people, please, every once in a while, get out and pay attention to this whole world, your whole city. All you have to do is look at it. I go there all the time. I was out there today looking at all our parks. Does anybody know that at Memorial Field right now, the electric box right by the, I don't know exactly what you want to call it, the electric box, that where they opened up the new vending stand, the rest of the stuff, it's tore right off. It's open right up. Kids can get, I can't believe how easy it is when I see mud on a brand new basketball court. Electric box tore right off. I know my time
Time is up. Thank you.
People, please take a look and see what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Beltz. It's gotten really hard, frustrating, disappointing to live in this city. I've lived in this city most of my life. I bought a house in East Detroit. I raised my children here. I'm a retired grandmother with no criminal history, and I've never really been involved in city politics until now. I have no reason to come to city council meetings to attack or harass this mayor. I've been coming to city council meetings since September because of my deep concern about this city and this mayor's actions on this community. There's multiple documented events of this mayor making police reports against well-known Eastpointe residents that have only disagreed with her. There are multiple documented events of this mayor insulting and berating residents, and she continues to mock resident comments. Eastpointe continues to make the news, and not for any reasons of respect and integrity. I was hoping that we would be able to finish out this year with some degree of dignity and decorum, but as the events of January, February, and March show, I guess that's not going to be happening.
Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor, and residents. Hopefully I can get everything in this 3 minutes. I wanted to touch bases of what Councilman Communists spoke about. I think that's a great idea. I think that the program will teach the children what the schools don't. And I think the bigger picture is teaching the kids what the schools don't. My daughter and I, we live right across the street in Eastpointe, my husband and my other kids, but my kids do not attend Eastpointe schools. But I would encourage her to do it because she has absolutely nothing else to do in this city. There's nothing. There's no recs, there's no skating centers, there's no bowling, there's no movies, there's nothing. There's no swimming pool, there's nothing. And there's parks with nothing. So if the kids of Eastpointe want to be on a teen commission for Eastpointe to learn about the government, there should never be an argument about that. Because that's something they can say, oh, I learned this in my city. Because half these kids didn't even know what the mayor was until she got here. That's why she wrote that book. Okay? The other thing I wanted to speak on is what the gentleman over here spoke about. We do have a bad thing with racism that just won't seem to die. I've had the police called on me because my 3-year-old's birthday party was too loud. The kids was cheering too loud. And the police came and shut the party down at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. She's 4. She just turned 4, and the police was there. My husband has intestinal surgery. The dog was barking because he was in pain. They called the police. They keep calling the police on me. I got rid of the dog. The kids was devastated. We go to work. We come home. Our kids don't even go outside and play anymore. So if you have a teen commission, any kind of kid commission, for God's sakes, push it through. So these kids will have something to do. You tired of the city being dirty? Let them do it. They ain't doing nothing else. Maybe they can join the Parks Commission and help clean up. Kids will do that if they get some recognition and some kudos. You just got to be willing to extend it to them. Don't make it difficult for them. And as far as the other lady, all I have to say to her is my grandmother said, you live a long time when you just mind your own business. So if you just deal with the things that directly affect you, you'll be all right. And I mean that with no disrespect, none at all. But you live longer when you mind your own. Whatever's going on with her, it didn't affect the city of Eastpointe, because if we would still be hearing from Councilman DeMonico about it. He'd be talking about it, and we'd still be talking about it next week.
Time is up, ma'am.
Thank you.
Well, since we sitting up here bashing the mayor, let me join in. Say you doing a terrible job. You ain't doing nothing. You ain't did nothing for our city. Well, guess what? I didn't see no big change in the city before she got here. The only thing I've seen, actually, let me just say this, just to take the jokes out the air, I've seen this lady do some beautiful things for people, not before the city. She's been law enforcement, the mayor, she's been a little bit of everything. I've known this girl since we was yay high in church, okay? And I understand some of you look at the paper and say, oh, look at our mayor, look what she did. Well, let's look at this wall and just take her picture away. Let's take her picture away from this wall. I was looking at this wall for a minute. And what's the big difference in that? She's there now. And there's a lot of people who doesn't like that. So, and I know you come from the era where it was cool to hang us. It was cool to call us nigga. It was cool to push us in the back door. Don't get offended, my sister. Don't get offended. All I'm saying is, we are past those times, but we're in the times today where I've seen this girl do so many beautiful things, and I haven't seen those in the paper. We made a program for children right here, me and her, for 4-H program for children. I did not see that in the Eastpointe News. Okay? I've seen her give her last to women and children who needed it right then and there when she didn't have it. I was there when they was talking to her about her issues with this court thing, and before the court thing was even over with, it was on the news that she did fraud. How was it on the news she did fraud before court was even over with? So that's letting me know that y'all pushing an agenda for this young lady that's really messed up. Now, I'm gonna tell you this, behind closed doors, I don't know what she do, but we don't know what you do. We don't know what you do. We don't know what you do. We don't know what these officers do. I don't know what you do. But we don't judge you. So, therefore, we're ready to cut her head off before a guilty or innocent. And to me, that's sad and pathetic, okay? You're talking about your city. Now, the young man came up here with a good idea for the park. Let's get it going. Hell yeah, let's read books. Let's walk down the aisle. She says, let's have something for the teens. My man's with the shiny head over there says something about, let's shut the money down. Who wants to stop teenagers from being great? And these are people that's on our right here in front of us that's supposed to be leading us, but he's saying, hey, let's not give no teens no money to help be great. We wouldn't even talk about money yet, and you stopping, and you's a hater, and you've been a hater. Secondly, you know what I'm saying? Curly, listen, I know you're at a certain age, and a lot of you are older than I am. But y'all was with my grandmother, rest in peace, where she actually had to go through getting spit in her face. And the sad thing is that it hurt.
Time is up, sir.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that, but it's sad that we're still getting spit in our face after all these years.
That doesn't mean because I'm that generation I do that.
No, I understand.
I
love you, sister.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, if I could, I didn't want to interrupt the speaker, but any reference to any racial racial epithets should be avoided by anybody that is speaking during hearing the public.
I didn't know that. I didn't hear that part.
Maybe,
So he said
maybe,
Negro. I didn't hear that part. So. We want to refrain from any, no matter who it comes from, whether it's a person of color or not, from using the N-word. I thought he said Negro. I don't know, he was talking so fast and, okay.
I did say, I said we come from the day when they called us that word.
Okay.
And I apologize for putting it out there like that, but let's not act like that one called us that when I'm supposed to. Let's be cool, be chill.
Yeah, so again, we want to make sure we respect, I don't care who it comes from, what color, race, age, ethnicity, we want to respect everyone from all backgrounds, even if it's your background. Anyone else would like to speak at this time? The second hearing of the public is now closed. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and concerns. We're going to mayor and council reports, starting with Councilman Curley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one last word on the teen advisory. If the council was hung up on the word commission, why don't we just call it the Teen Advisory Committee? And we won't have to go into that thing about commissions, have to all be residents. But I do like the idea of a 5-4. It's not a bad idea. And maybe we can investigate that. I'm hoping this will be on our next meeting, will it not? And we can talk about a 5-4 split. That would be fine. Talk a little bit about our library. I'm on that commission, and it's beautiful. So I went over there, and I parked on the west side of the building, and when I came out, 2 cars were so close to me, I almost didn't get into the car. One of the reasons is, board members, is that there's no stripes. The people just parked there. And I don't know why it was ever forgotten, but I would hope that, and that's including the handicap parking, 3 of them, there's no parking stripes. So I would hope that we could do that. Bike racks at the basketball court, our beautiful basketball court's not a bad idea. It's not something we have to think about for 2 months and have it in there. The kids don't have to lay their bike down in the mud. So that's a good idea. So I would hope the administration can take that and run with it and have that resolved before it gets too hot out there. The Earth Day, I don't know the date. I don't know if the gentleman's here that spoke of it. But if we could get the date of the Earth Day, wouldn't it be all wonderful if we all went out that day? If we had 1,000 people say that, by golly, we're going to clean up Eastpointe or East Detroit, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Just clean it up. So let's get that date before the next council meeting, and let's work on it. I think, I didn't even say the month. Is that April, May? Anybody know?
there's not a date yet.
Okay.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
The Earth Day is Saturday, April 22nd, and the Beautification Commission is already planning an event.
What kind of event?
Cleanup?
Well, that's great. Okay. Beautification Committee's already planning it?
Right, a date wasn't selected though, right?
No, it was set for I believe it was set for the 22nd.
Okay. If April 22nd, is that a Saturday? Okay, we're going to go. Bring your gloves, your plastic bag, and we'll have fun. And someone said we're even going to eat for free, so how can you beat that? The last thing, and I mention this every meeting, and no one's called me yet to come pick up your cans and your bottles so the Friends of the Library can cash them in and buy something and improve something for our kids. We talked a lot about our kids tonight. And Madam Mayor, I am convinced that everyone sitting here and everybody out in the hallway love our kids, right? Whether it's your own or somebody else. And that's why I'm so set on some of the kids that come to our school that don't live here, there's a lot of them that are probably brilliant. So let's look at that 5-4 division instead of a 9-0 vision. I think that would be a great, what's the word that the politicians always want to do is compromise. So that would be a compromise. Smile. We'll see. Okay, that's it, Madam Mayor, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Councilman?
Thanks, Mayor. Let's see. First, yeah, I guess so. Some of the comments at hearing of the public, Mr. Moore, I mean, sir, I can't believe you're attacking me just because we're discussing an ordinance about, hold on, sir. You know, just talking about different things. We bring everything up here, all 5 of us. I mean, I think everyone up here likes to think they always have the best ideas, but I think when we put all 5 of us together, we come up with the best ideas. I don't think I've ever put an ordinance forward and that's been passed without any changes. And, you know, you kind of hope that, but then when we have this discussion up here, you're like, wow, I did not think of that, or yes, that is a better idea. You know, you're thinking about it yourself, it's not. And to say I don't care about children because of a budget item in here, we're gonna have to, budget money goes everywhere in this community. And also, I thought on a person, I mean, you've been to my house, sir, like we are friends and then you're up here attacking me. I don't know, you know, come on. So, but, okay.
We're gonna go back and forth.
You can't talk, sir.
Well, we can't go back and forth, so maybe y'all can talk. Well, I don't know if you wanna, well, because it's.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Okay, fine, we're not.
It's a time for a public, you know, for the public to speak, then it's a time for us to speak.
Okay, so I think I said I thought we were friends, but okay, okay, we are not friends, apparently, okay. So, but anyway, moving on. Earth Day is April 22nd. April 22nd is Earth Day with the Beautification Commission. Sorry, I missed the last meeting, that's why I missed the date on that. Then let's see. So, like to recognize a few businesses. Macomb County Chamber does business awards and nominations. There is a bunch of Eastpointe businesses up for awards. They've got one category called Hometown Hero. Fusion Marketing is one of the nominees. Hidden Gem, there's 4 businesses, Curbside SOS, Morosa School of Phlebotomy and Healthcare Trades, Sonia Designs Custom Couture, T-shirt Gurus. And then there's another category, Small But Mighty, and the Beauty Boutique is the nominee in that category. And then I just want to bring up RARE, our recreation authority with us and Roseville. They've got a lot of programming. If you don't have their packet of information, please pick it up there. You can check all this out on rare-mi.org, but they've got a lot of stuff. If you're not familiar, I mean, I'm sure no one's familiar with everything they do. There's a lot of stuff. They've got preschool programs, youth and teen sports, dance and fitness, adaptive programs, youth, teen, and adult enrichment, adult sports, dance and fitness, senior programs and travel, a little bit everything for everyone. So just check it out if you're not familiar. Maybe you could do some things with RARE. And I think that's all I've got for tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I want to say a special thank you to Sue Todd, our director of the library. I was hoping to say this before she left, but I really appreciate her hard work at the library, and in particular in preparation for going to read at the local schools. I reached out to her and she gave me literature to take to the schools. And she didn't just give me one set, she came back and she said, here's another set. And I just really appreciate all that our staff at the library are doing to ensure that we have good programming, to ensure that our children have, and not just our children, but the general public have a safe place to go and to learn and to get books. They've even had, for the last couple of weeks, some series occurring. And I just only wish that more members of the public would have been able to be there. Last week it was on the Underground Railroad. Today it was on women in engineering. And they had highly educated speakers who came in and just a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge. So I just want to say thank you to Director Todd and all of her staff for what they're doing at the library. I also want to encourage everyone, if you have not done so, patronize your local library. If you don't see literature in there that you would like to read, I went in the last couple of weeks and there was one particular book that I was looking for that they did not have on the digital drive. And I went over to the reference desk and said, hey, do you guys think you can get this book? And she was like, we don't have it here, but I'm gonna find it for you. And she found it for me. They're gonna bring it in from Wayne State. So they will get the literature in if you tell them this is what I want to see, this is what I want. And so I just wanna encourage everyone to do that. Also, I wanna say, with respect, and this is my only comment pertaining to this for tonight, with respect to the teen council, our children, we say it in songs, we say it, as a cliche, but it is a reality. They are not just the future, they are our now. And our opportunity to invest in them so that we can get a good return on our investment has to occur now. I am very thankful for all of the professionals who invested in me throughout my life. I'm thankful for the leaders that engaged me in the city where I grew up and gave me opportunities to work in law firms, gave me opportunities to spend time being mentored by them in their positions, gave me the opportunity to learn the various facets of what they did, regardless of the background that I came from. But because I was in their city, they invested in me. And I'm appreciative to those attorneys and judges who mentored me throughout my life, to the biology teacher who invested in me, to the music teacher who invested in my talent. It's essential. That's how our children learn and grow. If we don't expose them, we can't expect them to grow. If you don't expose a plant to sunlight and water, you cannot expect it to grow. That being said, and I'll end my saying with this, it's a proverb from my favorite author, and that says, let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understands obtain guidance. An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Just a couple things. In regards to the parks, me and Mr. Creech, we talk quite a bit about parks. One thing that we're hoping is to increase some lighting at Spindler Park specifically. The gentleman that fell that you referred to actually fell because he stepped too close to that sidewalk grass divide. So I knew what it was. That's exactly what he said when he had fallen down. He got up, he was okay, but hopefully that lighting will be put out there if things go the way we hope, and then it'll be a little easier to see. But I do want to say that it's good that we have people that are passionate about the parks, and I say it to the Parks Commission, and I say it to residents as well, and you and I have discussed it, but they work hard, they do their community engagement, they go out and try to find out what's good in the parks that they're working in. They've had improvements, Roxana Phase 1 and 2, Getz Park, now there's plans for Rain Park. Unfortunately, the Parks Commission does not employ people to work in the parks, but it doesn't mean that they shouldn't put the work in to make sure that the parks are beautiful as best they can. That being said too, we talk a lot about publicity, public image. Last council meeting, I gave a word of the day. I said it was seeds. I talked about positivity and kindness. You plant the seeds of positivity and kindness. You tend to that garden. Your return on investment is greater than the number of seeds that you planted. I would encourage us all that, I mean, there's nothing wrong. We are to be scrutinized and examined by the people we work for. But if we want positivity, I would just encourage that we share our positive experiences in the city. I will start it off. Like we stated earlier, I got to read to the children at Forest Park. And that is quite the fun time when you talk to the young people. If you really want to hear some interesting words and ideas, ask them a question about the book you're reading. And I guarantee anything you think of is going to be different than what they think of, or what they think of is going to be different than what you were thinking. But it is a fun time to engage and to show young people that you are interested in them and that you care about them. You care about what they think. You care about how they perceive things. And when you give them that, it teaches them communication skills. It gives them confidence in sharing, and that you're not making a mockery of them for how they look at things. Those young minds are very malleable. You can shape them, and if you give them the right things and you shape it the right way, it will grow and produce something beautiful. And for my friend here, I always have to give the word of the day, because when I don't, he checks me about it. So my word of the day is confluence. And that is simply a flowing or coming together, a meeting or gathering in one point. And that can refer to any number of things. I like to think of it in terms of ideas. We come together, whether it be at this table, whether it be at a gathering place, whether it's out in the city, whether it's at the neighborhood supermarket when we run into each other. We talk about things that we see. We share our ideas. We come together. And when you do that, you can find not only that people have different perspectives about sometimes the same things. Sometimes you'll find some common ideas. But sometimes you can just bring those ideas together. You may have an idea. I may have one. Someone else may have one. And then we can make something good. And so all of this is just to encourage everybody. Let's try to push for positivity. Let's try to encourage one another. Let's try to encourage those in our community that are working to try to keep it beautiful and to make it beautiful. And to be very neighborly and to be very kind. That is free. You can be kind, you can be loving, you can be respectful. That is free to do. That's all I got.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight in support of, leadership and what's going on in the community. And we had a lot of positivity out there. I'm saying some things that was going on in the city. Mr. Langston and also Ms. Young said a lot of things that's going good in the community, and a lot of other people too. But just touching on what they were saying about what's going on as far as the children. Before I was elected as a councilwoman or a mayor, me and Mr. Langston, we started, and also Ms. Easley, I don't know if she's still out there, we started a 4-H program right here that actually teaches our children about Robert's Rules and health and wellness, and it's endorsed by Michigan State University. And it was just 3 of us, and we used our own money. We didn't even have that much money. You could barely buy hot and ready's, and that's $5, But we did it for the kids, and we did it at the middle school. I know you remember that, right? And so I said that to say, if we don't see things in this community, we create them. If you don't see something in your community, create it. A 4-H program, you still have to go through the process, and, he did it. He was like, oh, my God, what I got to do, Mr. Owens, you got to go through the progress and things like that, but he did it for the children. So if you don't see stuff in your community, create it. If you don't see a mayor or a council person or a police officer that don't look like you or don't represent you, you do it. You do it. You have a choice. You have the power to become and do and see what you want done. Stop waiting on people to do it. I didn't. And I want to see, I didn't do this to be the first. I did it so I can see a second and a third and a fourth, not just of minorities, of people of color, whether you Chaldean or, Russian, whatever, to be at the table. And so our children need to learn about local government. And that is why I wrote my book, Mom Was the Mayor. And it teaches it teaches about local government, it teaches about leadership, and it teaches you that no matter where you look, what you look like, and where you come from, you can be a mayor, a congressperson, a senator, whatever you want to be. That's what that book is about. And so also saying that, we had to stop it, start getting overwhelming, and we start becoming more babysitters than anything, right? People was leaving their kids with us, but we love the kids, so that's just something that we did on our own. And now we also have a Boys and Girls Club that I help spearhead alongside my bishop, and that's here. That should be coming up this summer. So that used to be in my old stomping grounds right there on Shaner on the east side of Detroit. They closed that. And, you know, I got a call that it closed down. And they said, Mayor Owens, can we bring something to Eastpointe? And, you know, I got on a call and talked to the superintendent of schools, and we got that started right there in our city. And now we have this teen advisory board that's coming along. Also, we have a business on Kelly Road called K&K. It's a boutique. I went in there and shopped there because, of course, I support my local businesses. And they have sewing classes for children. A lot of people don't know that. So they have sewing classes for children. I think they do it on Saturdays. They close out the back area, and they teach. And it's a young lady that is a designer, and she teaches children how to sew. And also we have a karate for our kids on Kelly Road. So we have a lot of things that you probably didn't know, or a lot of people didn't know that we had in the community. But if you don't go out and support your community, if you don't go into these businesses, then you don't know. And it's not up to the mayor to always tell you about what's going on, because I can't do everything. I can't. This is your city too. And you know, and a couple meetings ago, and I put that on my community. You voted for me, yes, to lead. But what's a leader if I'm not showing you how to do things on your own? I'm not gonna be here forever. So I'm teaching the children behind me, I'm teaching you all how to lead on your own. I'm teaching you how to fish. That way for me to get it for you. This is why we do these things. This is why I tell you, this is why I wrote the book. So when I'm not here, we have other kids that know how to be mayors and local, you know, and be elected officials and what leadership looks like, and not be afraid to lead, and they're 5 years old. I remember I wrote, when I first wrote my book, and I went to the schools, I went to Roseville, I went to different states and wrote my book and talked to children as young as 5 years old, and the first thing I asked them is what a mayor is. You'd be surprised, a lot of adults don't know that. And the little girl raised her hand, she said, it's the president of the city. I said, that's close, the president of the city. I said, but it makes sense, you know, and so I said, you got it. So it does start with our children, but our children also need to see leadership in the household and teach our children, if you don't see it, become it. If you don't see it, become it. We keep on blaming our elected officials, our police, or other things that what we don't see, why we don't have this, why you don't have that? Well, you do it. And everybody back up and go start having again. You do it. Create a 4-H. It's free to create that. It's free to start a group of kids to go skating, a skating group. You do it. You're responsible. This is your community too. All of us up here have children, have lives and things like that, but we did take an oath to help lead this community in the right way. Well, if I show you how to lead, if I show you how to start a bike club, which I did, if I show you how to do a 4-H program, now you have to continue it. Because the mayor got to do other things. I have to raise my children too, and so do everybody else up here that have children. But I know when I went to, got my Harvard, went to Harvard through SimCod, I actually talked to them about creating something for our children who are in politics, like similar to this team, commission that she's putting together to let our children be able to go to Harvard. I'm almost 40 years old, and I thank God. Some people don't never go to Harvard. Don't get me wrong, but I wish I could have went when I was 16 or 17. You know what I'm saying? So I was talking to SimCog about creating a program or a grant through the same people who pay for us to go to make sure our children go to Harvard while they're in high school and experience and knowing that they can go to those prestigious schools too. We need to show our children different. I love Wayne State, Michigan State, you know, U of M, all those things. Yes, I do. Those are amazing schools. But it's more. And And let's expose our kids more and let them know they can do it too. You can go to Princeton. I spoke at Princeton last year. A lot of you didn't know that I spoke at Princeton. I went to Harvard last year. These are places I've never thought I'll go to, let alone speak at, because it's not in our community. Nobody talks about it. But it's possible. It is possible for you to go to Dartmouth, Princeton, all these, Yale. It's possible. But we don't talk about it to our children. If we don't show them better and you expect me to do it, then what? Some of y'all just found out what a mayor does. I just found out not too long ago. I still became the mayor because of my heart to serve. I didn't have to be the mayor. I didn't have to be a council person. I didn't have to be a police officer. They do that because of the heart to serve. So again, I put this on you. If you have a heart to serve, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I want to say thank you, everyone, for coming out. I love you. I always say that, even if you don't love me back. But we're going to have a motion of adjournment. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley? Yes. Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Cobb Muniz?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.